From Bishop Ireton High School, it's Real World Wednesdays, a show featuring alumni and friends of the school for the Cardinal community and beyond. I'm Ryan Fannin, Associate Director of Advancement and a member of the BI class of 1989. And on the show today is Patricia McArtor, a 1944 graduate of St. Mary's Academy, who is as active as ever on the eve of her 98th birthday. The oldest Bishop Ireton graduate from the first graduating class of 1968 is now in their mid-70s. But we also have a shared history with St. Mary's Academy, which first opened its doors in 1869. When we had the chance to sit down with a St. Mary's Academy graduate in her late 90s, we couldn't have been more excited. But she is not just living, she's thriving. I'm talking about our guest today, Patricia McArtor, who is a 1944 graduate of St. Mary's Academy. Patricia was born in 1926 in Alexandria. After attending elementary school at Mount Vernon Community School, she began high school in 1940 at St. Mary's Academy, which also happened to be her mother's alma mater. At the time, the school was still located in Old Town Alexandria. By the time her senior year came around, St. Mary's Academy had relocated to its more well-known home on Russell Road, where it would be until the school's closing in 1990. Patricia graduated in 1944, still a year before the end of World War II. Her two sisters followed in her footsteps at St. Mary's Academy, graduating in 1946 and 1949. Following her own graduation, Patricia went to work for the government in the public health service. She married and had a son. Despite those she was closest to having passed away, including her husband and son, Patricia is still as sharp as ever as she approaches her 98th birthday in October. She continues to live in the same house she has lived in for 60 years. She isn't just mobile, she's active. She dances at Blessed Sacrament, where she has been a parishioner since she was in her 20s. And in fact, during our recording, she spontaneously stood up and began soft shoe tap dancing, looking twice as spry as people half her age. She sings weekly at St. Elmo's Coffee Pub in Del Rey and still travels, having recently returned from a trip to New Orleans. In all, her friendships and faith keep her focused on what's ahead, both in this life and the next. But to really understand what makes Patricia so special, you have to go back to the very beginning.
I was born in Alexandria. In fact, I'm a fourth generation native of Alexandria. My mother was the oldest of 13 children, and my grandfather came over here when he was 19, and I assume he came to New York, and he did a little boxing when he first came over. And I don't know how he happened to come to Alexandria, but he did, and met my grandmother, who was born in Westmoreland County. And as I say, they had 13 children. They raised 10. 3 of them passed away. I was raised in Del Rey, and I went to Mount Vernon School in elementary school, and then I went to high school at St. Mary's. Of course, Del Rey was a very small place then, and now it's gotten boom, you can imagine. We walked to school and walked home for lunch, and we never had sandwiches. Mother always fixed like ham and cabbage and stuff, big dinners for lunch. In fact, we never even called it lunch. We called it breakfast, dinner, and supper. That was the main thing. I had a wonderful family, a wonderful childhood. Daddy and Mother both played the piano. In fact, they told me the story that both of them, since they played the piano, went over to Kitts when they first got married to get a Victrola. And when they got there, there was a baby grand piano in the window. And both of them just went crazy, and they decided to get it, and it was $800, and that was in 1922. Daddy said it took him about 20 years to pay for it.
Oh, my goodness.
But so we always had the piano, and all the neighbors on Delaware Avenue would always come in in the night, and we'd be singing and dancing, and it would just be like a show almost all the time. It was fabulous. That was what my childhood was wonderful.
The year is 1940, and it's time for you to head to high school, and you attend St. Mary's Academy. So what are some of your memories about St. Mary's Academy when it was located in Old Town Alexandria?
It was in the old Dangerfield home, and it was a beautiful home there. You can imagine it's on Princeton, Washington, and we loved it, and we had the sisters were all there, and we went out in the yard and played, and it was great.
What do you remember about the Sisters of the Holy Cross and sort of their style of teaching and the inspiration that they gave you and your classmates?
They were very formal, but they were an awful lot of fun. And the Selinsky boys were there. They were in the academy too. And of course, being 2 or 3 boys were the only ones that were in the school at the time. And they were so funny. And it was really enjoyable.
That's what you had talked to me about in one of our recent conversations is your graduating class of 1944. Not only was it the first year on Russell Road, but it was the last year any boys.
We had boys in our class.
Right. And then that was the end of it, right?
Right. Billy Barrett and George Bond were the last 2 boys, yes.
And then after that,
all girls.
All girls, of course, from then on. That's a little trivia that a lot might not know, that there was actually boys that went to St. Mary's Academy.
And the worst part of it is we girls had a time because there weren't any boys in school, and all the boys outside of school had gone in the service. So we were kind of short there.
And I know your family has a special history with the school, including your mom.
Yeah, she graduated, I think it was there.
1917, we have the diploma. And there's so many wonderful connections, Patricia, to St. Mary's Academy. And when you think about the Bishop Ireton, current head of school, Kathleen McNutt is a 1987 graduate of St. Mary's Academy, and now she's leading the young men and the young women today to keep Catholic education going strong.
Magnificent.
And I know you shared a very special gift with her. You gave her your mom's actual St. Mary's Academy diploma from 1917 that today hangs in her office at Bishop Ireton.
But weren't they beautiful in those days? They were really beautiful.
What compelled you to want to share that incredible history with Kathleen and Bishop Ireton when you gave her that diploma?
Well, I was thinking that after I'm gone, there probably won't be a lot of people that would be interested in it. And I thought that they would really love it because I loved it so much.
Your mother graduated in 1917, and my grandmother, Dorothy Knight Fannin, graduated in 1918, and they were best of buddies.
They were. In fact, Dorothy and Frank, I've heard that name all my life. And they used to come to our house, and we'd go up to their house. In fact, I can even recite the little card that we got from them. It says, "The Fannin Six on King Street Hill will get an old-time Christmas thrill if you will only come and see our Christ Child shrine and Christmas tree, and taste our wine and fruit cake too that we'll provide for friends like you."
Oh my goodness, that's incredible. That is unbelievable. Being that first graduating class from Russell Road, can you tell us about your memories of the shift from Old Town Alexandria to Russell Road?
I do know that I went on the bus in Alexandria and I walked when it was on Russell Road. But the school actually, some of the parts of it weren't even completed when we went there, the first class. It was a beautiful school, and of course the sisters' home was right in back of the school, and that was actually a beautiful, beautiful home.
Now in 1944, you graduated from St. Mary's Academy, And your sisters also followed in your footsteps at St. Mary's Academy, with Dolores graduating in 1946 and your sister Carol Ann graduating in 1949. When we spoke recently, you talked about how proud your mom was.
Her trinity of girls, she used to call us.
That's wonderful.
She was so happy that's what she wanted. She wanted all of us to graduate from St. Mary's Academy, which we did. And she was so proud.
Tell us about what you did after you graduated from St. Mary's Academy.
There wasn't any talk in those days about college, so I went to work for the government. Naturally, it was during the war. I worked for the Public Health Service, and in part of the time, I traveled with them because we went all over the country taking chest x-rays and things like that for people, and I worked for the medical officer. And so that was very interesting. We were in California for a year, and Cleveland for 6 months, Boston for 6 months. So we actually saw quite a bit of the country.
In 2016, 8 years ago, they had a very special all-classes St. Mary's Academy reunion up on Russell Road.
That was fabulous.
They honored Sister Elizabeth, Sister Ann.
That was wonderful.
What do you remember about that night?
I remember meeting people that I went to school with years ago, but I hadn't seen for years. It was wonderful. And also seeing the sisters, the whole evening was fabulous.
How about this is your 80-year reunion
Lord.
For your class of 44. When you think about...
That's a lot.
You've had an incredible life, Patricia. I mean, you had mentioned to me recently, you said, Ryan, I'm going to be 98 years old on October the 10th. When you think
when
about...
you think of 98 years old, you really think of... And you think
I don't think of you. You're so young.
And not only that, singing every week.
Oh, my gosh. Share with us now a little bit about what you have done in recent years, the things you continue to do. You talked about line dancing.
Oh, yes,
Dixie.
I do that.
Tell us about what a week's like for you these days at age 97.
I go up and down the basement steps washing clothes. I do know that. And I do go on Monday, Blessed Sacrament has line dancing for seniors. And I go to that. And then on Thursday night for the last 25 years, I've been singing at St. Elmo's, Dixieland, which I love. And then I play a few little numbers on the piano and sing with it.
You also shared with me recently about the amazing story about how you were born, what is it, a door or two doors down from where you sing now?
Yes. Well, St. Elmo's is right in Delray on Mount Vernon and Delray Avenue. And I was born in Delray Avenue, 2 doors from where I sing. There are 2 or 3 houses that are built near the property of my house, which didn't have any houses. But on the other side of my house, there are 2 houses built now. But when I was a child, a cow grazed in that land.
Oh, wow. Times have changed in Alexandria. As you've lived this wonderful life of 97 years, what advice would you give young high school students at Bishop Ireton as they are going through the challenges of today that you've learned in your life that you could maybe share with today's students? What are a couple things that you would maybe give advice on that you think would just inspire the youth to live a wonderful, long life and fulfilling life like you have lived?
Well, for one thing, I have more personal relationships with people. In fact, I don't have a cell phone myself, but friends and people are very, very important to me, and I'm sure to young people today.
What do you think is the most important thing about Catholic education today?
Well, I don't think it's any comparison to public education. You really learn not only subjects, but you learn about life and also what you should do to be a good person.
I'd like to close with this question, and it's one that I think our audience will find particularly interesting. As you think about the future, I'm wondering if you can share how your Catholic faith gives you hope for what's next here in this life and beyond.
The Catholic faith was very, very important to my family and to me. And I just feel like we'll all be together in heaven. And I'm looking forward to being there with my son and my sisters, my family, and all my friends.
That's Patricia McArtor, a 1944 graduate of St. Mary's Academy who continues to live every day to the fullest. I'm Ryan Fannin, and you've been listening to Bishop Ireton's Real World Wednesdays. So, Patricia, I know you sing down at St. Elmo's. Do you have a line or two or a couple phrases that you can share with us that you like to work on over at St. Elmo's with that wonderful voice of yours?
I said a good man is hard to find. You always get that other kind. And when you think that he's your man, you look around and find him messing around some gal, and then you ran. You start to rave to see him laying down deep in his grave. Now if your man is nice, take my advice. Now hug him in the morning, kiss him every night. Give him plenty loving with all your might, because a good man nowadays is hard to find.